So I will start with more with the company approach that we have. So as many companies do, we do have our strategy sessions where we define not only the goals in numbers, what we want to achieve, what is the targets that we have, but also what is the value that we have, values we have internally for the company, and values that we want to bring into the industry, to the clients that we have. And later on, we apply these values that we have to the products that we're producing, because everything what we do internally in communication between the departments in developing the tools should go in line with these values. And therefore, we believe that those values, they're helping us and they will be helping our clients and partners as well. So I will be going through them and applying how exactly the functionality that we do responds to those values and how it can be transmitted to your business and your values as well. And the very first one, important point is actually that to the strategy session, we invite all the head of the offices and departments so that we have overall view from all the angles, not just some potential idea that this is going to be great, but we're actually listening for those who are within the processes, who are in daily communication with the clients, who see how exactly that works in reality. So our great ideas is actually applicable to the daily cases that we're all facing. And the number one will be resilience. We've all seen that within COVID times and then after the COVID times, that you can have as much added value as possible, but the main purpose of the business and main purpose of the bridge is to execute the orders. And that is the main thing that they need to do as fast as possible and in the most reliable way that it's standing no matter what. I'm pretty sure you've seen maybe in the neighborhood some companies unfortunately being closed down during the COVID because they haven't had this maybe financial capacity to sustain their business for 2 years. And then you also seen the company like Peloton who've been on the race within the COVID, but then life get back to normal, they went down. So we always need to have a plan in any type of business, how exactly we respond to the changes in the market, which can happen to anyone. And within the bridge, we do have enhanced replica server. So within trading platform that you're using, MetaTrader, CTrader, you do have additional servers that you can connect to if the main server is down. The same we have for our trade processor. If so happens that something is out of order, no connection, or so many other issues with the machine or with the trading platform itself, we do have a replica server that keeps a track of what's happening and replicates everything and can be reconnected. On top of that, we do monitoring within the trade processor for all the components. That's data feed, trading capabilities, the execution. We do have the backups. If one liquidity is not responding, we can switch to another one. We do have predefined setting how many attempts we can have, and you can customize that as well if you want to with the help of the support, but we do have it predefined, like how many attempts we have before we're switching on to another one. And because we're also providing the white label, we a long time ago have created extended monitoring system to track not just the trading platform, but the whole setup. We tracking the trading platform itself, we tracking the connectivity, and we tracking the machine as well. How much of the free space is there? How fast is the speed? And there are a few other tools that are commonly used within the industry for tracking the connections, and we can check their logs for the errors and notifications as well. And of course, let know about that via different alerts, either via web interface or email and Telegram chats as well. If so happens that something goes wrong, and sometimes it does, again, this year you heard about the big outage of Microsoft update when all the flights been cancelled, many systems went down, and it was a chaos for 1-2 days in the world. It's good to say this happens very rarely, but it's good to have some backup plan what to do if that happens. So if something happens, we do have failover process about how exactly and where it goes, and all the data is saved at any point of time on any changes. And we also have a dedicated team for reactive responses. And this team is precisely watching for these notifications that coming from the trading process, because especially within trading, every second, every minute matters, and it can have massive impact, if not financial, reputational as well. Because you know better than I do that if there is one loud unhappy client, it's many unhappy clients. So that is number one for any business and for our bridge as well. And we're constantly working on improving these things and adding new layer of how we can cotton potential situations, how we can predict potential cases, and how we can protect anything, from any situations. The number 2 value is flexibility. The pace of the world is changing. It's getting higher. There are so many new changes. This year, it's been from the last year, it was a lot about the trading platforms. So of course, number one thing we did was to add more trading platforms. We are connected with the C Trader, DXTrade, MatchTrade, and we have a few clients who have their own systems, their own platforms. They are unique to them, and this can be connected to our trade processor as well. Can be multiple platforms, can be one platform. And additionally, we have added Fix API and REST API trading with a web interface. Those two APIs can be used for trading, and the web interface is available for trading as well. It's a certain type of the companies who do that. Some companies provide this for their clients, but there is this flexibility because the number of algo trading companies and traders is growing as well. And we can do that in a quite fast pace as well. Like for the average time of adding new liquidity for us is within 1-2 months. Sometimes if they have a complicated process, it can be longer, but we want to keep it in months rather than half a year, how it happens sometimes, because we do have the modular system. That's how we develop the product, so that when we change one part, others are not impacted. That is very important to keep, and that's what allows us add new functionality and sometimes even take something that is not used, because it's important to know, to analyze what is not used as well, and to take these parts away. Of course, alerts, we adding more and more alerts. There is a telemetry system which is connected with the problems with the connection that keeps that all the liquidities are running, all the quotes are running, but there are other alerts, including the business intelligence, that we're constantly adding, and we've added much more this year. It's impossible to have a webinar about technology without mentioning artificial intelligence. No, it doesn't do the settings for the bridge and doesn't tell you how exactly you should have the settings for the maximum profitability of the business, but it can help with answering the questions, what will happen if, how to do the setup of this, and so on. It's still in the learning mode. We've just introduced it this year, so we're happy when we see that the clients are using it. And if in doubt, please check our support as well. They are not beatable by AI assistant, definitely. And for the sophisticated clients who have their own massive systems for the risk management, we do have REST API for the external risk management commands, for the change of settings, for the change of the execution, for example. That is external REST API. So that was number 2 in terms of flexibility. And within our company, we as well keeping an eye on what's happening within the market and what can we add, what we should focus on. The expos is the best thing because you're meeting so many people, you're learning what's happening much better than from the news. The other thing is that was as a goal for us many years ago. We had the dream to make this complicated software product as a helpful tools on a daily basis, something that is easy to use, that is intuitive, that you don't have to learn how to use it or read hundreds of pages of the manual, reread it a few times to understand how exactly to use it. When I started to work at TFB, all the settings being through the configuration files in the breach, and not only the breach, actually all the products. So now one of the things which is not in trade processor, we have done the toolbox, which is the web interface product, which can allow you to do the settings online for all the plugins that you're using from TFB. And it's so much easier. It does show the logs as well. It's more secure as well because you don't have to give the settings to everyone for the RDP access to the server. And we have introduced over 100 clients using it as of today. It was a big success. If you haven't seen it yet, you can check it out. But that was projected for a long time, and we're very happy that we introduced it. And of course, within the breach as well, one of the goals, because the breach is very complex product, there are many things, but we keeping as a goal to have it clean, to have important information in front of you, to have it accessible, to easy to navigate, and to do the settings and some of the things, the small things that maybe we cannot call a big advantage or something breakthrough decision, but that's not the goal. The goal with it is to really make it just simple and easy to use. And as I mentioned, the clear overview of the exposure and performance is the first thing you see when you open the trade processor, is what is the volumes you have total per liquidity. You can see the statistics by the liquidity as well, so that you just understand the big picture of the exposure of the positions you have. We do have a lot of quick help and find buttons through the interface, like the one in the screenshot, that you can create the rules for the execution, for example, and you can easily find what by the name, how exactly it's going to be executed. Another thing we have added, if you need to check the settings for a specific account, you can, there is a button, find the root. You can just click put the account number, choose the platform or the group, and you will see how exactly the order will be executed on which terms. So that just makes it easier for the daily decisions and daily checkups. And there are more things like that hidden within not hidden, like they are within trade processor, and we can, with the success managers, you can go for them, but it's really the goal. And one thing in the settings that simplified our life as well, because we do the setup of the trade processor, but for any changes, is to creating the symbol tags for bulk execution settings. Those of you who've ever done the changes in the symbols, you know how much time and how much blurry it becomes when you need to check and change settings on each instrument separately. We have added in the breach the tags so that you can change the settings on the tags level, and it will be applied to every instrument that have this tag. That is reducing the probability of the mistake and saving the time and just making life easier as well. And that goes if to talk about the company, because I want to put in it in the company as well. We're trying to do that throughout the whole processes in communication between the departments, because when adding new functionality when working with the clients, the process of onboarding, for example, or the process of updating the product should be very easy between sales, success, support, and technical department. And we do the review of this process once a year and eliminating the parts that might be too long, or optimizing the processes that taking too much time from any of the department or we consider not efficient. There is always a room of improvements. At least every year we have something to improve. But again, the market is changing as well. But ease of the process, simplification of the process is one of the goals as well. And there was someone who said that to make it easy is the most difficult part. Oh, yes, the one thing I forgot, the market depth snapshot at the time of the deal request is also a lifesaver for some of our clients who have a lot of professional traders, and they sometimes send a request about the pricing at the time of the request. So in the trade processor, if you will go to that deal, you will be able to see the snapshot of the market depth, and you can send it to them without going to the logs to the data, to the logs of the data feed to see what were the pricing. That again saves a lot of time, and that helps you to maintain a good, quick relationship, communication with your clients, with your traders. It's very, very useful. There are more about the reports and how to track the liquidities coming later. Quality. Now we're going to the most interesting part. In terms, those things that I mentioned, they are going around trade processor, like the core values. But of course, bridges now, they're serving much higher goal for the company than just the connection with the liquidity. Otherwise, everyone would be using just fixed CPI. It's more about overall functionality that we have. We also want to improve the work with the liquidity and the communication, the technical communication from the trading platform and liquidity. So one of the things, if you see in the screen, there is the tools section, and there are 7-8 different small tools. They are all designed to optimize the work and the process with the liquidity providers. One of them is continuous execution for optimized pricing. That is very useful if you have traders who are trading with the big volumes, I don't know, with 100 lots or more, and or depending on the instrument, it can be less. And it can, the trade processor, to avoid the big slippage on the liquidity, it can break up the volumes and execute it one by one, or instead of rejecting the whole order, for example, if there is no pricing. We do have the volume consolidation. That's when you're actively using aggregation and execution on different liquidities. There are situations when the order been closed on one liquidity, opened on one liquidity and closed on the other, and then there is open positions in both of them. So at the end of the day, we can automatically do the volume consolidation to match the total position that you have on the trading platform and on each liquidity, because everything goes through the bridge and we know exactly what you have where. Another part is the continuous execution. Again, I meant to add there the AB risk tool, which is open here. AB risk tool is the tool that can, depending on the commands and the filters, decide to switch the position if you have it on A book to B book, or other way around, from B book to A book. The most common case would be if one client have growing position on one instrument, and it's based on the instrument on the trading pair. if it's exceeding, here in the example, it's 100 lots. If it's exceeding 100 lots, for example, you can switch them from B book to the A book. The order will be opened on the liquidity from the point when you send the order, of course, to the liquidity, but that's protecting you from certain risks. There are different filters. It's the positions, it's profitability, it's time as well, and you can choose this auto switches between A and B. You can also do the manual switch, choose the position and do the switch on the other book, whether it's A or B. And 1 second. The sweet part, the business intelligence. There are multiple products across the industry that I've seen throughout the years. There is pattern analysis, there is the recommendations, just simple, like the profitable trades advised to go on A book, the those with less profit to the B book. We did do the business intelligence before, and what we put in the business intelligence is not the simple A, B, and that's it, like the advice, but to analyze the trading behavior, the trading behavior patterns, and to see how it can be used. The most common patterns and trading behavior, so we have predefined rules. These can be traders with big profits. And you see here in the type, profit greater than deposit, for example. It can be swap abusers if the swaps are greater than profit. It can be suspected scalpers, big deposits last month. You want to know about these clients that have had bigger deposit than, and you can set the amount, what you want to be specifically aware of. It can be traders on specific instrument. It can be some exotic instrument or popular instruments, because or specific instruments on the news, for example, that can catch you some, help you to identify the news traders. If you know that there is something happens with the Turkish lira, for example, or Japanese yen, and the clients are specifically trading on these orders. So there is behavior patterns that we show as a predefined rules, and all of them are based on 18 different filters, which are available to you as well for building your own pattern. And you will see it as a report. Those as soon as you have someone filling into this pattern, you will get the notification that there is the new account, and you will be able to go to see all the accounts and to see what's been happening, because sometimes it might be one-off situation. Sometimes you will see that it's really a pattern, and so what? That was the question with the last business intelligence that we had. It was a separate business intelligence, and what we did with this was just the reporting. Now we do it within the trade processor. It is already implemented in the trade processor, and you will be able to change the way those orders are executed. And now we will go to the engine of the execution. So what can you do with those traders? We do set the rules of execution. Later on, you analyze how exactly it was going. Was it a good decision on, like, what was the performance? And then you can review what's actually been happening. Let's go better into the setting the rules. In setting the rules, the approach we have is deciding who. With the trading behavior patterns, you can also understand better who. It can be the traders with a higher profits. It can be just a group of traders based on the country. It can be the default settings that you have. So you have them, let's say, in the group. And then the next is how. You're choosing how exactly to execute them. What is the spreads you want to offer? What is the commission you want to offer? What is the liquidity you want them to go to? Do you want to execute them on the multiple books? Do you want to give them you can also choose, for example, if you know that those traders trading with the bigger volumes, do you want to give them overall average, the best average weighted price, or do you want to execute them by the top of the book? That is the different approach for the clients, the services for the clients, and the business model for you. And so you're choosing how to execute them, what will be the settings, and the next goes aggregation pools, and you're choosing the liquidity providers. You can create your own pools. You can change it without asking us, for example. You can change it with the help of our support as well, of course. You can do even the both A and B book and match it proportionally if you think that's what works for you best, if it is the big volumes, or if you know that certain liquidities, if you have the news traders, if you know that certain liquidities providing better market depth or better execution on certain symbols, you can send those trades on these symbols to that liquidity provider and the other trades on the other instruments to the other one. And of course, the list of the liquidity providers, and you can mix and match them the way you want and seeing the best for your business. When you do that, and with any business model as well, of course, you have to analyze what's happening and see the reports, because I think it's becoming more and more relevant. And I also know that sometimes some brokerage companies, they choosing liquidity providers just judging the price, like the lowest price per million, which I don't think is the best decision, because sometimes you will see that if the price is too low, you're probably being charged somewhere else. And to go just with the lowest price is never the best approach in any products that you're using. And to help to understand if you are getting some not the best services, we can track the LP performance with to see and compare the spreads they are offering, to see what is the exposure. First of all, you will see the here in the analysis, you will see the total exposure. You will see how your traders behave trading. It can be across all platforms or individually. It is, of course, have more detailed report, and you will see the profitability, the most active trades, because sometimes they do not match, how they do not match in this chart as well. We see that. And you can see the LP performance in terms of providing the data. But also, you can see and analyze how exactly the liquidity is working for you, and the breach, of course. Here, for example, it's just one sample. It's the timestamps about the performance of the trade processor, trading platform, and the liquidity. How much time does it take to execute? So to have these numbers, we had to have multiple connections, 16 milliseconds. It's just to show that the time delay can be not only because of the quality, it can be because the traders are trading in Asia and you're connected somewhere in London, for example, and the time can affect as well. If you see that the time is not optimal, it might be the location of the trading platform, liquidity, and the trader. So we can go into that, but that at least gives you understanding why the price is going slipped, because that's why the time is important, because you can be late to hit the price and the trader will getting the price which is came 16 milliseconds later, which can be completely different. The same, we can show the slippage in the report, and you will see what was the requested price from trade processor and what it was from trade processor to liquidity, and what was the price that you received. You will also be able to see in the report the swaps charges on the positions, and you will be able to analyze what is actually pricing per liquidity that you have. We don't do this decision making for you. That's up for the business model you have to decide, because sometimes it's more than these two parts to take a decision, but to be informed is helping to take better business decisions. Sorry. And just finishing up with the values again that we have is nurturing services level, and that's the support and the success department that we have. We have as I mentioned, the bridge is a complex product. It has multiple functionalities in it, and we have the separate fixed API platform. We have so many things within the bridge we're reporting, and we're helping with onboarding with the help of the success manager, who will be with you all the time and can have multiple calls to go through the onboarding process and initial configuration. And for example, if you have new team members, you can also have a call with a success manager so that they know the product better as well. And when we do add new functionalities, new features, we also collecting the feedback from the clients, from the active users, and taking into consideration to take it on list for the next sprint that we have of adding new functionality. So it's driven by client demands, because as I mentioned, we always keeping an eye on what's happening in the industry to know what is important to the clients now. We do have our own judgment as well to decide if that is something that one client needs, it's very niche, or is it for the bigger audience. Both can be sometimes implemented depending on the complexity, but the good thing is that we are listening to the market and responding to the market and the client's needs. And of course, support. We do have a very great support. We definitely have the fastest response in the industry based on the questions and the feedbacks that we're getting. And we have the customer portal, which providing the very quick access to all the data. And you can just type in the questions about any products and find answers there, create the tickets to keep a record of what's been happening. And for the emergency services, of course, support is available over immediate contacts to reach out, because when it's something urgent, we understand that it's important to be replying as soon as possible. And with all the sales and success managers together, we speak 15 languages. So most likely, whatever language you're speaking, we will be able to support you in the most comfortable language and guide through the product. That's all the presentation. If you want to have more dive in presentation into the product, you can contact our sales team or the success managers if you're already existing client, and they will be happy to go through the new bridge. We have just launched it a couple of weeks ago, so not so many clients are using it. There are some certain special conditions on the business intelligence for limited number of the clients at the moment, because we want to improve it and update it. And those of you who want to actively test it out, can reach out to the success managers and see if we can, if there is still space to offer it to you. And of course, it's a Q&A part now. If you have any questions, please type them in. I will try to look into the chat. So one of the questions that I got here is about if we adding the liquidity provider, how soon the changes are happened. So when we're adding the new liquidity provider, we done it in a way that we don't need to. Adding new liquidity will require the restart, but if you have the connection, it's better to do it over the weekend to see also how the connection is working, to do some tests to see the compatibility. But if you apply any settings like changing the execution model, for example, for that you don't need to have a restart. You can just apply the settings and changes, and it will be applied straight away. You don't have to do any restart or wait any time. I hope I answered that question. Okay, if there are no more questions to me, thank you very much for your time, for spending this morning with the TFB and with me. You can always ask these questions for your sales and success managers, and they will be happy to give you to give you a thorough presentation and detailed answers. Okay, have a good day, everyone. Bye-bye.